Now let me go to what are the global challenges for Global Project Management Office. The global project challenges can be obvious or perhaps not so obvious. Either way, there will rarely be a single approach that best suits any challenge on global projects. With this in mind, being well informed is a responsibility for any prudent manager in today's global business environment. The connection between strategy and reality is actually a project. Therefore, in order to connect global strategies with success, it is important to be able to successfully deploy projects on global scale. Global organizational strategy is often focused on leveraging multiple locations in order to achieve or drive business performance and growth. Global organizations with links in many different locations are required to understand culture, comply with local rules and regulation, and at times international standards, and many times we need to do the PEST, the political, economical, social and technological analysis. As they drive the global projects, there are a lot of other challenges related to financial and political issues like currency fluctuations or political issues, which is like, for example, happening in Egypt. I may not be able to cover these two issues in this presentation, but they are equally important for the success of global projects. Now, the challenge number one, which is witnessed in almost all the projects, is logistic. The application of global discipline is essential as the geographically separation of global projects acts to magnify challenges found on any project. The important element is how good your PEST is. Okay. The challenge number one, which talks about logistic, geography, time zone, and different jurisdictions. Logistics are made more complex by differences in geography, time zone, and jurisdictions. There, we need to understand which project structure to follow. Are we going to structure our project based on geographical, organizational, political, or functional definitions? Or looking at the team selection, what resources are required? Are the roles and responsibilities of these resources competent for this project? Where can we source people? And ultimately, do you select them based upon capability or availability? Then we look at the various time zones. How will you communicate across different time zones? Direct consequences of time zones effect include teleconferences at awkward times to accommodate member of global team, miscommunication, and increased time required to conclude on a communication or on an issue. Then travel and accommodation also becomes a biggest challenge because there is no substitute for face-to-face meetings, particularly for senior stakeholders and cross-functional teams. When travel is required, objective of the face-to-face meeting should be clearly established to ensure meeting outcomes are maximized. Then we need to understand jurisdictions. Within a country or within a state or a province or a city, you will come across a second set of rules, second set of law. You will find national or religious holidays within different religious holidays, and you will find different hours of operations. This difference has a serious impact on global projects. Simple things like local holidays, religious periods, and hour of operations can be easily overlooked, but they have a profound impact on global projects. Challenge number two is culture and language. Culture is often the single reason for global project difficulties. It is a reason requiring minimal explanation or justification, and typically translates into, that's the way we do it here. The meeting of different cultures. Cultural diversity within a team can bring fresh perspectives or innovative solutions. However, cultural diversity can also bring a heightened sensitivity to minor infractions and perceived insults. Governance. Project governance structures can often indicate how culturally aware an organization is. For example, regional heads of the business can be appointed from the home country or sourced locally, but the strength or weakness of either approach is surprisingly difficult to ascertain. Value conflicts. Project staff may be intellectually aware of cultural differences. Example, people-centric versus result-centric. Small differences of interpretation can trigger antipathy or hostile feeling. Language barriers. The most basic type of language barriers is when different languages are used by different teams due to multiple geographical locations. When this occurs, it is useful to select a common project language and common naming conventions to ensure that everyone speaks the same project language. Challenge number 3, stakeholders engagement. Stakeholders are any person or organization with an interest in the progress or outcome of the global project, either because they are part of it or affected by the deliverables. The challenges of stakeholder engagement are by no means unique to global projects, but when looked through cultural barriers and geographical distances, they become acutely more complex. Initial kickoff meetings. Getting things right at the start is critical. A face-to-face kickoff with all the key stakeholders is essential to ensure everyone is aligned and hears the same story and is given the same starting point. The manner in which a new global project is communicated to all the stakeholders is critical to ensure stakeholder involvement and commitment. Maintaining momentum. The duration of any global projects can be years. Building and maintaining momentum in a multi-year or a multi-region project is always a significant challenge. Otherwise, the project loses its momentum. Supporting business as usual. When different locations are involved with global projects, consideration should be given to available resources in individual locations. Frequently, the number of resources in a particular location reflects the business as usual requirement. It does not take into consideration the level of global project activity. Rigorous stakeholder analysis. It is important to be aware of who the stakeholders are. Each time there is a stakeholder chain, there is a potential impact, and this must be communicated to everyone through a prescribed communication plan. Challenge number 4, the solution design. The end product of many global projects is often a defined combination of process and technology termed as solution. Agreeing on what the solution is should be the focus of virtually all involved parties. That includes architecture. What is the architecture of the solution? What is the level of process clarity that is given to the stakeholders? And it also brings accountability for processes. Core or mandatory rules, it should be clearly identified or it should be distinguished that which are the core and mandatory elements which can be modified or can be kept as an optional. Beyond implementation, things which are generally neglected, which includes item associated with the project but does not considered as deliverable for the project, which includes business as usual support and ongoing enhancements. Example can be documentation, support warranties, or after sales support, after delivery support, like that. Challenge number 5 is sourcing. Sourcing is a typical issue in today's globalized business environment. Many global organizations are involved with sourcing at one level or another. Organizations, large and small, are taking advantage of sourcing in order to gain strategic advantages, cost savings, and process improvements. In this, we have multi-vendor coordination. Typically, large multinational contracts involves multiple vendors across geographies. In situations where teams across vendor need to work together to implement large-scale scope, the absence of clearly demarcated roles and responsibilities can result in missed deadlines. This challenge can also be relevant where the capability may differ for the same vendor in different countries. Delivery practices. Sourcing relationship involving large corporations and service providers faces issues relating to difference in delivery models like payment on delivery or post-delivery and all those things. It can hold up project for a long time if these issues are not resolved on time. Having seen the challenges, global challenges, what can be the framework? How we can form a global project management office which can look into these aspects of global challenges. Encourage collaboration but focus on standardization. It seems to be really appealing, but challenging to execute. It is the ability to establish collaborative rather than just standardized project goals. In other words, prescribe where, what and when something has to be done, but allow greater flexibility on how something should be done and even who should do it. The use of high-tech tools to help many global teams work better together has been an interesting tool. There is a significant use of interactive bulletin boards like wikis, collaboration tools, instant messaging, video conferencing, and of course emails. Such constant communication between team members allows for team members to feel virtually close. Planning is priceless. Plans are useless. Let's see how the Global Project Management Office conceptual process flow builds up. Now you must be very clear with the various phases of project: the project initiation phase, project planning phase, project execution and control, and project closure. Now during a project initiation phase, you identify a business opportunity based on the opportunity available at global level, which is provided by the product sales team. This gets converted into your business requirement, and then you nominate a project manager through a global project management office, and then you design, then you provide resources, then you do the risk analysis. And after this, once these business requirements are captured, a team is formed to make a proposal document, and this proposal document is approved by management, and then Global Project Management Office informs that this project has commenced. Then we get into planning phase, where we prepare a detailed project plan, and in the detailed project plan, after we make the detailed project plan, we do a risk assessment of various risks. Who will be the stakeholders, what will be the procurement issues, how we are going to do the resourcing on a global level, what will be the key milestones, the deliverables, and checklist. Once this assessment is done, which is approved by Global Project Management Office, we form a project initiation document. A project initiation document is a Bible for the entire project. In PMP terms, it is also known as project charter or project initiation document, something like that. And this PID document is approved, and then you call for a kickoff meeting. Now this PID document is a standard document given to all the stakeholders, so they come on the same platform during the kickoff meeting. Once the meeting is kicked off as desired by the project manager or by the organization, then we get into execution stage. Execution and control, it happens together. If you can look at the flow has been indicated in a very transparent manner, where you can see how things happen, how you track the project to execution. You track the project and lead the project to execution, how we keep on identifying the risk and continually mitigating the risk. Then in control, you do the gap assessment. There you will find some change requests coming up, and then how you incorporate those change requests into your project plan, and then how you bill accordingly to the customer. Then you build a contingency plan also, and there are various points on quality, time, and budget. Once the project is successfully closed, I mean you achieve the deliverables, then there has to be some closure activities where you acknowledge the resources and release them. Deliverables are accepted. You capture the lessons learned, document it, and then issue a project. You close the procurement issues in terms of financial settlement, and then you issue a final project closure report, and this project is closed. Now to support this process, and this process is general in nature, it can be modified as per your requirement, as the organization wants or the stakeholders they want. But once you standardize it, it is standardized for the entire organization. Now to support this process, we have supporting documents. Now what can be these supporting documents? Because on a global project, nothing is clear until unless the paperwork is clear. So you need to have a clear paperwork, documentation, and during each phases you produce a lot of documentation. For example, in project initiation phase, there is a business requirement document, there is a technical solution design document, project feasibility report is there, project proposal is there, then there is a management approval, and then the project approval document. In the project planning phase, you will have a project plan, project risk assessment document, project resource document, project checklist, and then you will have project initiation document, which is approved by GPMO, and then this document is used during the kickoff meeting. Hello, Keshav, is my voice clear now? Hello?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay, because I got a message, pop-up message that voice is not clear. Okay. Now in execution phase, you actually make a project progress tracker document, and then you have a project plan of work. Then you identify RAID log. You keep a basically RAID log where you identify the risk, what are the action needs to be taken, what are the issues, what are the dependencies. Then you have minutes of the meeting document and a project dashboard, which I have shown it to you earlier also. In the control, you will have a gap assessment document, change request document, project contingency document, project quality check audit document, and then you will have report in the form of weekly and monthly reports, which is served to management. In the project closure phase, you'll have a quality acceptance audit report, variance analysis report, which indicates planned versus actual, deliverables, and OWL, which stand for outstanding work list. In case you are unable to deliver the project with required deliverables, but these deliverables can be provided at a later stage also, but at later stage, and they don't have much of impact on present deliverables. So that comes as an outstanding work list. And then you have a financial closure report. You capture the lessons learned during the project, and then you prepare a project closure report. Okay. Remember, encourage collaboration, but the focus should be on standardization. Now you want to set up a global project management office, because most of the organization they suddenly decide that though we run the project, but we don't have a central mechanism to control all the projects. So we want to set up. So there are a lot of challenges when you're setting up a global project management office. Now, if local project performance is poor, or even worse or unknown, then your organization should ensure that it invests properly or appropriately to prepare for the global stage. Projects are hard, and they get harder as organizations strive to obtain performance and growth on a global scale. The enemies are more inside than outside, so be aware of that and ensure that we maintain peace, and therefore please be cautious of these things when you're setting up, when you're initiating a GPMO initiative. Boundary culture. If your organization decides to form a global project management office and you're pushed to take the leadership, please ensure that you don't hurry up and fall into one of these pitfalls. The first one, which is very common, is a boundary culture. Generally, people don't like suddenly somebody coming out of blues and start infringing into their territory for monitoring and controlling, which most of people may have witnessed when they come across such initiatives. Secretive culture. Also, sometimes people are not willing to disclose the process they follow, contact points they have, and there are other things because they believe that this will make their presence and job insecure in the organization. Change management. People are comfortable with the way they are working. Bringing any sudden change in the way they work will not be appreciated well and sometimes rejected upfront. Redundant resources. Identify the redundant resources, but never try to displace them upfront. and always try to use them in more useful functions or role before taking any decision on redundancy. And last, sustenance is the key. Every new initiative, if not sustained, would surely vanish within few days of implementation. It is important to devise mechanism for sustenance through training and standardized processes and various other systems. Planning is, during planning, remember the discipline and the patience required for implementing is not so easy. Do it through a mandate and follow it. How are we going to do it? You divide your implementation into 4 phases. For example, you can have 2 or 3 phases also. First phase is preparation phase. Now, the most important thing in the phase 1, which is preparation, is issue top mandate to document following of each department, functions of each department, process and process maps, various checkpoints, various tangible and intangible stakeholders, role and responsibilities of each resources along with the responsibility matrix, clearly defining the expected deliverables with inputs and outputs, current monitoring and measuring and reporting procedures and systems. Then you get into analysis phase. Once you collect these documents or these processes, get into analysis phase, analyze and integrate each department into overall organization structure. Though it is already there, but you need to redefine it again. Evaluating the usefulness and credibility of each monitoring, measuring and reporting system vis-a-vis deliverables and organizational objectives. Creating better and meaningful monitoring, measuring and reporting system, process and templates. You can reuse what was existing or you can reinvent if you find something needs to be put there. Standardizing the reports as per the departmental needs with requirement of management and organization. Ensure that existing process and procedures are addressing the global project challenges. So whatever we just went through the challenges which we have seen in the previous slides, so those is to be incorporated during the analysis phase. Implementation phase. Publish the GPMO operating handbook. There has to be a Bible for Global Project Management Office. It's a guidebook where you collate all the formats, all the templates, you identify what to be the guidelines of Global Project Management Office. Then you need to have schedule of reports, whether it is half-yearly, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. And then you need to have standard templates which can be utilized by Global Project Managers of GPMO. Then you create a central repository for all such reports through graphical user interface systems for all the departments if they want to get interlinked with GPMO. Standardizing the communication and reporting format templates for project teams, meetings, and management reporting. Then you get into, once this implementation happens, then what is most important is sustenance. In the sustenance phase, you organize a weekly, monthly report, monthly meeting with HOD as per the pre-circulated agendas for looking into the processes of GPMO, whether it needs to be improved or something needs to be removed. So those things can happen. Review and improve the GPMO process and procedure and publish what is new. And every time there is a change, you need to publish, because your people are not restricted to a particular location, because it's a global domain and people are located in a geographically different locations. Then devise a communication for implementation and, more important, sustenance of this initiative, because every initiative collapses after some time if it is not sustained. Parallelly, you must offer training and get the people involved into the Global Project Management Office. So this was my last slide of this presentation. I hope I have covered